Everybody, welcome to the Heady Vermont Livestream. I am your host, Eli Harrington. I have got a special guest with us tonight, Green Tea Glass, on Instagram at Green Tea Glass. I'll call you Green Tea Glass tonight on the live stream.
You can just call me Green Tea.
Okay, I'll call you just Green Tea. So this is our friend Green Tea, local glass artist. We are going to get into an extended interview with him because we are working together on an upcoming event.
We are, yeah, doing some big things.
If you have not yet checked it out, on Sunday, the 18th, that's this Sunday, as you watch this tonight on Monday night, this Sunday we are going to have a private glass drop with Green Tea. He's been working on some awesome stuff. He's been out there. You might have seen his syrup bottles around.
Yep.
Doing a lot of local work, making a name for himself here in the local glass scene. And we've got a chance to kind of get in depth and talk about that show. So we'll get into that more afterwards.
Cool.
I want to start by giving our folks a little Vermont news update. Last week, as people know, was town meeting day, so the legislature was not in session. Everybody was home at town meeting, ideally hearing from a lot of their constituents. We know that cannabis was a topic of conversation at multiple town meetings, and that the subject did come up. So we are going to spend some time in Montpelier this week. I will be making a trip down there, giving people a full update. But just to give you guys a reminder of what we have in play as far as the different bills, there's a medical marijuana bill, S216. That bill is presently going to the House. Now we've heard it could either go to Human Services Committee or it could go to the House Judiciary Committee. So we're monitoring that. We will give you updates, and when it's time to call those various committee members, we promise we will let you know. That bill, if it passes, would open up things a little more for the dispensaries as far as the plant counts, but it would also restrict patients and say that each household, if you are a patient, then the other person in your household or other people in your household will not be able to grow their recreational plants. So that's something that we don't like.
No, that's not good.
Generally, we are in support of patients and don't think that people with debilitating medical conditions should have fewer rights. I think they should have more. So S216, we're following that closely. The saliva testing bill, we've been talking about that a lot lately. That bill is now in the, that bill is going to go to the Senate.
That's good.
Have you been reading up on this?
I haven't followed the recent updates.
Okay.
The first wave of updates I was following, but what's the most recent updates right now?
The most recent update right now is that it's going to go to the Senate. So we know it passed through the House. It's passed the House before. And right now it's up to the Senate to take it up and we hope prevent it from becoming a law. So if it's passed, I would encourage you and everybody else out there to listen to our interview. We talked to a UMass Boston professor, and he's actually got an app.
Well, that's right, the Druid app.
The Druid app. Holy cow. You're welcome, Professor Milburn. Check that podcast out because he's actually done some research, and I sent that podcast to every senator in the state of Vermont. So they might not all have listened to it. I haven't checked the play count lately.
Maybe a few of them have.
I would like to think so. I mean, I feel like at this point they take my emails with a grain of salt, but the fact that we talked to a guy who's got a PhD after his name.
The fact that you're doing it, that's all that matters.
Well, I hope part of the idea is that, look, you don't have to take it from me. Take it from these other people, too.
Yeah.
So, politically speaking, that's where we're at. There is a hemp bill that is in play. That's going to be interesting to people. It would make Vermont's state program federally compliant. We'll talk more about what that means in coming episodes and in coming interviews. But that's what's kind of going on politically. Under the scenes, or sort of with everything else that's happening outside of Montpelier, there's a lot going on. We went to the one-of-a-kind event last week.
That was a good event.
That was an awesome event.
Kurt and Sarah.
Shout out to Kurt
and Sarah.
Yep. Shout out to Kurt B and Sarah. They put on a killer event at SEBA. You had a couple pieces there as well.
I did. Yeah, they were gracious enough to invite me to their show, and it was really fun. It was a great event. There was lines out the doors for hours. It was.
Literally, I was really surprised. Not like, you're right.
Not with Kurt.
Right. This is kind of a theme of the live stream, right? I mean, the glass scene is wild here in Vermont. It's outstanding, and a lot of people like myself are starting to pay more attention and starting to think about glass more in the art and less in the function.
We're starting to crawl out of that,
yes.
underground kind of grimy culture to slightly be looked at a little bit more like.
Well, and this was a big event for that. Having an event at SIBA, at an art gallery.
That was a big step in the right direction. That was the first, I think, gallery viewing of pipes in Vermont. So Kurt and Sarah really did a great job with that event. And
a shout out to Sarah also at SIBA, another Sarah, who I know is a big fan of CBD. We were talking about CBD a lot at that event too. So
that stuff does wonders.
Yeah, that was a lot of cool stuff happening in Vermont. We are gearing up for NECAN, that's the New England Cannabis Convention, the first Vermont Hemp and Cannabis Convention. It's happening in May 12th and 13th. So we have got those tickets live online. You can buy your tickets. We'll be giving more information about that. Otherwise in Vermont, I want to throw out a couple shout outs. I started off wearing the hat and then I saw what I looked like wearing the hat. I went to the trouble to shave my head today, so.
Wait.
Rock, yeah. No. You're good. But I am wearing this. I'm wearing this hat which says "Cultivate or Die." This was made by NEVA. That's the New England Veterans Alliance. So these guys have a Vermont chapter. They have been active in New England for a long time, and a lot of the principle is that because of the federal prohibition on cannabis, veterans who use the Veterans Affairs medical system, which are a huge majority, if not almost all of them, they have a hard time accessing cannabis. And in other states, you've had groups of veterans who have gotten together, helped each other find doctors, get cards, get legal, cultivate together, but really use the idea of gardening, of getting together, and for some people, therapeutic use of cannabis, but using that as a way to kind of get people together.
It's also it's a bunch of people that kind of have the same mindset, and that's I know some vets get into some different spots where other vets can really help them out, and this is a really great spot for all those people to go and that can share this common interest and really benefit from a plant.
And we have I know more vets through cannabis than I would normally. I mean, I have guys that I grew up with, Kevin and Andy and a lot of other guys who we all know who have served. But I've been able to really meet a lot of veterans, and this is what they say. So I'm not here to represent them. They represent themselves more than ably. But I'm proud to be involved with the New England Veterans Alliance of Vermont. They have a chapter. So David and Ben and everybody else who's been instrumental in getting that group going, a hats off salute. To you all, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So thank you for all that you've done, all that you will do, and we'll be looking to do more with NEVA Vermont. They're actually going to be represented at our event.
Oh, perfect.
This coming Sunday. So
fantastic.
I know if you are a veteran that's out there and you want to learn more about NEVA, the New England Veterans Alliance.
There's going to be a rep there or something, so come down to the event as well.
And I think we may. I'm going to try to talk to them and see if maybe we can get them on next week.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
They're both super outgoing guys who love to talk about this and excellent advocates. So they were up in the Northeast Kingdom, and they had a chance to represent cannabis in a more conventional veteran setting. So I got a chance to talk with them about their experiences, and we will be sharing that with you. So in the meantime, shout out to those guys. You guys may have noticed this slick shirt, which I know Tyler's got one of already. He'll have more in the future.
Yes.
This comes from rollingflower.com. So you can check out rollingflower.com. You can find them on Facebook. They have given discounts to members before. Sometimes they even run flash promotions in the live stream directly and when they share it. So a big thank you to our friends at Rolling Flower. They've got a lot going on and a lot more that's going to happen in the future.
Some really cool designs. I really like them. They're subtle and kind of classic, but
and I can say these shirts are cool. These shirts were not woven in Vermont. These shirts were designed in Vermont. These shirts were printed by hand in Vermont by somebody who lives in Vermont and pays taxes in Vermont.
That works.
And has a family in Vermont, so
it all goes to support the local economy.
In the future, we'll be wearing 100% Vermont hemp-grown clothes.
Yes, we will.
For now, we're really pumped to have Rolling Flower representing. So, thank you to Rolling Flower. Speaking of Rolling Flower, this is hemp on the table here. Hemp on the table until at least July 1st. That's some auto too that we have, and. That's one of our props here at the studios provided by Jam Creative. So we'll give a shout out to Jam Creative as well. They have got a beautiful space, and they're going to be upgrading even more. So check out Jam Creative. That's why everything on Heady Vermont looks so awesome. Monica, Judd, Sam, who's been helping us out a lot with Heady Vermont too. Those guys are killing it. So Sam, who made our awesome graphic.
She did the Egyptian graphic for the new show here, and it's she did a great job with it. I think it looks great.
I think speaking of that, maybe what we can do is I want to give a little New England update, and then we'll talk a little bit about our show and kind of your background.
All right.
Before we'll do the New England update, and then maybe we'll throw that graphic up on the screen after too.
Yeah,
I know
let's
that we
show
have
some
that.
people that graphic.
Yeah, we need
cool.
it. Sam did such an awesome job, and I think that we got to do that.
We do.
So as far as things that are happening in New England proper, larger New England, NECAN, New England Cannabis Convention, we mentioned it before. We're working with them, the New England Cannabis Network, pardon me. We're working with them to host a show in Vermont, May 12th and 13th.
Oh, perfect.
March 24th, a week from Saturday,
Yep.
they've got a show in Boston. This is the first one.
I
It's
think I'm
the
gonna be
biggest
there.
one. Are you really?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So we'll link up, and if
Yeah,
you're
I think I'll
going
be
to
there.
NECAN, if you're going to NECAN, let us know because we're going to have a Vermont contingent. Heady Vermont's going to have a table, so
Oh, perfect.
you should stop by.
I think Fire on the Mountain's going to be there, so I think
Oh, okay, awesome. Shout out to Mari and Jackie O out there.
Yep.
Fire on the Mountain. We'll give them some love as well.
Great glass shop in Killington, Vermont, hiding away on the mountain there, but it's worth the drive.
And they'll apparently be down with us in Boston. So everybody in New England's getting geared up for that. That's going to be over 250 exhibitors.
Which is, what, double?
Double. I think it's double last year.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been going to this for like 3 years now.
It's going to be big.
And yeah, it's going to be wild. So
Neat.
I would encourage you to check that out. I've reported on it in the past. I've got a podcast interview with Mark Shepard, who is one of the founders. We've got photos. Like I said, this is I've been going to this since fall 2015.
Nice.
I went back
so
and
you got right in there in the
yeah,
beginning.
the first podcast I ever did had a NECAN interview with Mark. So that's huge. Other big news that you guys might have seen, check out the weekly roll-up because we put all the regional stuff in there as well.
Oh, nice.
Maine is doing stuff with their caregiver laws.
What are they doing right now?
So Maine is basically going from a wide open, wild medical scene to a slightly more controlled medical scene that's also transitioning into adult use. So we posted an article about a delivery service in Maine, and there are a bunch of these. Give a shout out to Elevate 207, our buddy and his dog Spaghetti, out there in Portland. Delivery's been wild, and I think that's speeding everything up. But caregivers are they're starting to crack down on the processing. They are trying to, I guess, expand sort of some of what's happening with caregiving and make it easier for caregivers to cross over. But there are a lot of caregivers in Maine. There have been people who have been doing things that have been gray, that have been totally legal, that have been totally illegal in all these places. And I think everybody that's involved in the cannabis community in New England, in the Northeast, has been watching what's happening in Maine, seeing everything that's come out of Maine. And like Maine is producing quality.
They are.
Quality.
They're definitely producing some of the best stuff right now.
I think it's wild to see. So
sure.
Maine is a really interesting place to watch. They're not doing it in the same way as Massachusetts, a little more behind the scenes and just happening incrementally, but things are shaping up in Maine. So stay tuned. We'll talk about that a lot when we are down at NECAN next week. We're going to talk to some Maine people and see what's really good in the 207 and how things are going in vacation land. So that's what's happening in New England. In the Northeast, I know that you spend a little bit of time in New York.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting geared up on hemp in a big way down in the southern part of the state. The state of New York has actually awarded $600,000 plus contract to a hemp processing company. So in New York, the state's getting on board in a direct way.
Hemp way.
Yeah. Well, big processing at
Big
least.
processing.
You know. So
All
it's funny because you see how things are happening in every different state, and it sort of reveals a little bit of their political character.
Oh, it totally does.
So in New York, I think there were probably some people involved.
Vermont stood back and went like this for a while, and then they're like, All right, we'll dip our toes in the water.
And I would say objectively, like people like me are frustrated at how slow things have progressed.
I'm pretty frustrated.
But I will say, you know, the sort of, I don't want to call it corruption, but kind of like the insider dealing and the backroom dealing, like that's been a lot of what has pushed other states forward and a lot of what's informed how it's sort of rolled out. So we don't have as much of that in Vermont. Maybe we will in the next few years.
Hopefully.
But last regional shout out, Vermont shout out, who I didn't mention earlier. I want to say what's up to Scott from the Hempicurian in Brattleboro. Hempicurian in Brattleboro, they are just getting ready to open up their storefront for business. So I saw Scott, he has been a loyal member for a long time, and we've been able to watch his work progress. Will from Canna Planners did a kick-ass job with his branding. I've been seeing his stuff all over the place on the internet. So Vermont Hempicurian, Scott, thank you for being a loyal supporter of Heady Vermont. All right, let's get into a little bit more glass.
Yeah, where do you want to start?
Well, I want to start by, I need to wet my whistle here.
All right.
And I want to give a little shout out to one of our sponsors and partners, Iaso Goods. We've been very fortunate to get to work with them a bunch. They actually sponsored the first pitch competition that we did at HempFest.
Oh, neat.
Back in Burke.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Iaso Goods has made these beautiful grinders. Even with Sean's beautiful camera work, we can't do them full justice.
Yeah, no, there's beautiful engraving on that.
We made a little video piece to drop in. So we'll drop that in, give you guys a look at the grinders and even higher quality, give them their due visually, and then come back.
Trying to put the graphic in froze it because it's a different size.
Oh, okay.
I might not put the video right now.
All right. Well, we can come back. We can come back to them afterwards.
The poster graphic doesn't fit into the video size. We might have to skip those.
Okay. We have the Instagram one too, so we can toss
we
that
do
in.
have a smaller version of it, I think.
Yeah,
All right.
Just the aspect of it is weird.
All right. Well, let's get back to let's go right into our interview then.
All right. Where do you want to start?
Is that cool? Where do I want to start?
Yes.
Where to begin?
Yeah, where do you?
We can have the Iaso up now if you're ready.
Okay. You want to drop that in?
Yes.
All right. Let's do it. Let's give ourselves a little 30-second shout out for Iaso Goods. I'm going to slide over a little bit here too so that you don't hit that mic.
Wooden cases.
So we're in commercial time right here.
Okay.
We're back? All right.
All right. Man, that's quick.
I know. Well, you get a little lag when we're watching it here
Yeah,
in real
I
time than
noticed
what they're
the
actually
lag.
seeing at home. So speaking of, shout out to Eric and thank you to Amber who loved the hat. You guys, if you like the hats, you can get them from Neva. They will be around at a lot of different cannabis events, including down at Nikan. So
Yeah, it's a cool hat.
shout out to Nikan. Eric, thank you for hopping in, one of our good friends and loyal watchers. And I will go ahead and drop this. We did a cannabis trivia night back in February at the Monkey House.
Yep, I remember that.
Eric and his wife won the first Heady Vermont cannabis trivia.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
shout out to Eric, and a heads up exclusive for all of you who are watching on the live stream. We're going to do another one in April. We might even do two of them in
cool.
April. So stay tuned. We're waiting on a few
That's
more
gonna be a good
details,
time.
but we got another one at the Monkey House in Winooski.
Oh, these
And,
are gonna be fun. All these cannabis events are fun. These CBD events. We did the CBD yoga over at the
Yeah,
Heady
that's
Vermont.
right.
Oh man, that was such a blast.
Yeah, let's start with that. Let's talk about that. So Tyler, let's give people a little bit more background since they've been seeing you here hanging out.
Yeah, I'm just sitting.
You don't
there
need to
not
share.
doing
You don't
much.
need to share your. Yeah, you don't need to share your whole name and all that. But maybe just give us a little background, where you come from, how long you've been in the area, and how you got started in the glass game.
I've been in Vermont since I was about 10, and I went to a couple different colleges. I ended up graduating from UVM, and went right into the corporate world. Started blowing glass kind of just as a hobby because I actually, Sarah at Stash and Stow and another artist named Raj, they kind of introduced me to the whole pipes as art scene. I didn't even know existed. So it was
So
kind
you
of
were
like,
kind of just like just a young dude hanging out in the head
yeah.
shops, checking out
And
all
I was
this
like,
Heady
oh,
Glass.
this is cool. So then I was like, I was still in school, and I tried to get a job at a head shop. Didn't think it was actually going to like pan out, and it did. So I ended up working in a head shop, really not knowing anything. I thought I knew what glass was before I worked there, and then I learned a lot, got to meet a lot of artists coming in, and I was like, asking all the questions, how do you do this, how do you do that, and it was just like, pretty intrigued, I think, by the whole process. So I eventually was able to like, go to someone's studio and watch them work, and then eventually it was like, can I like try it? And
Yeah.
they were able to like set me up a little thing, and it was Charlie Reynolds actually helped me do that here locally. And that really just, I sat back behind that torch the first time and was just like, wow, this is something I could see myself doing for a while.
Feel the power in your hand.
Yeah, it was pretty, I don't know, inspiring, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it was a hobby for a while, while I worked, corporate sales jobs, and then.
What kind of corporate sales were you doing? I've only ever known you as a glass artist,
so
it's funny for me to imagine you
I
as
started out like selling mattresses for Sleepy's, and it's now known as Mattress Firm.
Uh-huh.
That was long hours of seeing maybe 3 customers a day and just having to entertain myself there. So it was like, I need something more. I was designing glass a lot while I was there.
Yep.
And then
so you're one of these dudes, and like we see them all over the place, and a lot of us are them ourselves, who's like behind the counter or working that sales job.
Who's just doodling,
on the side,
oh, yeah.
thinking about your art, and like, maybe someday I'm gonna get to be creative full
my
time.
my head was somewhere else for sure.
Yeah.
And then I went into selling copiers. So that was an interesting gig. That was actually a really good gig.
Okay.
It gave me a lot of really good experience. It was a business to business, so I was sitting down with CEOs and high ups at a lot of companies trying to give them printing solutions or whatever. So it really got me comfortable with
printing solutions. You were good. All right. Okay. Legit.
And no, I mean it just made me more comfortable, I think, with cold calling, reaching out,
Yeah.
all that, and that really helped the sales and marketing aspect of my glass business, which I don't think without that experience that would have been a lot harder to do.
Well, and that's something. I mean, you've got to you have to be an entrepreneur as well as being an artist when you're an individual in this scene, right?
I was lucky enough to go to UVM for entrepreneurship, so it's kind of like right up the alley of what I was studying,
Yeah. So you're kind of like, it's cool because you're kind of like a next generation glass artist.
I'm definitely next generation.
By all these OGs who have come up like anonymously and through head shops and like
who really built this scene that I was able to thrive in because they did the real underground shit. They
had to take a lot more risks. Like,
they were taking a lot of
risks.
risks. They also 10, 15 years ago there was 10, 15 colors or whatever. It was a lot harder to blow glass back then, apparently. But like,
is that what everybody older?
It's just everything's been done before, everyone says, and there's an old mindset and there's a new mindset, and I think that there's definitely a next generation of glassblowers that are going to pop up here in the state, because Vermont's always turned out good glassblowers. There's a place called the Hood Plant that used to house people like Jason Lee and I forget who else was down there, but a bunch of big names. And that was 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. So
and you see it evolve, like you said. I mean, you had some of your mentors still in the game, and now you're another generation. Now you probably have dudes younger than you who are coming up and asking you like, how do I get in the glass game? Like,
that's definitely a thing, and I'm always there to help because I wanted someone to help me when I was at that stage,
Yeah.
So anytime someone's like, hey, how do you do that? I try to tell them, or I'm like, hey, I can come over and show you how to do that, because like I couldn't have done it without people doing that for me. That's for damn sure.
And that's a nice part about, and that seems like a cool part that I've observed in my very limited time, is like everybody's competitive in that you're all artists, you're all pushing each other, you're all at these events, everybody's selling their stuff, but everybody's still super supportive.
Yeah, it's just, it's
almost weird, right?
It is
like,
very
coming from
weird.
A sales world, you're the person who's also selling mattresses.
Right. No, and you don't want the mattress store down the street to outsell you. But like,
right.
I think because there's that art aspect, we can all find our own individuality in the medium, that we can all coexist and still be competitive and still be like friendly and able to like, hey, this is how you do that, and you'll do that your own way.
Right.
Well,
and it's almost like I compare it kind of to the beer scene in Vermont, and a lot of it's like the cannabis scene, but just that's not as visible. But with the beer scene, people get together, they do collabos together.
Yeah.
And it's like the overall quality increases because everybody's at these same shows and events, and it's oh damn, this person did this, or this person did this, or I've never seen that material before.
everyone's trying to one-up each other still. So it's really, it's helping to propel this industry and really, shoot this art form into cool directions and crazy ways, I think.
So how do you, I've tried, I don't even want to call it glass blowing.
You did the gather.
I
the
did
burn
the,
gallery
no, I did
event,
like
right?
I did the heat up a piece of glass and flop it over and spin it around in my hand a bunch of times. Like
Yep,
it didn't even qualify as a gather, but it was my first experience, and I'll never forget my first time. Thank you, Tito, for being so gentle. I appreciated it, and I know actually the Burn Gallery's got another first timers event coming up.
Yeah, I think they also
in
do
a few weeks too.
a heat for glass blowers as well. If I'm around, I'm definitely going to go.
Yeah,
down
they did.
and
They
check
did a
it out.
fastest 1
Yep.
at that event too. So, what's the process like of coming up? Like building your skills as a glass blower. Like you start out with pendants or
Oh
one.
man, I mean that's every artist is going to have a different answer, I think.
Yeah. What'd you start out? What was your progression?
Oh man, I think I started with little pendants. I think I just had a meat mallet, and I took a gather of glass like you did, and I smashed it with a meat mallet, which would put this cool waffle print in it.
Yep.
And I called them space candies, and then I made them look drippy. So they were these drippy waffles that were all different colors. And I sold them for like $15-20. They were cheap, but like that was like the first thing I could do that looked all right, and just kind of grew it from there. Yeah, I'd say pendants and then some spoons, and then try to do a mini tube and try to do a rig, and
kind of just grows.
There's a lot of there's like it's kind of like snowboarding or skiing in a way that you've got basics you have to learn in order to progress.
Right. Some people are going to ride parks. Some people are going to go
right,
in the woods.
and that's,
some people are going to do.
But before you can do the park in the woods, you got to learn how to ride the green trail. You got to learn how to ride the blue trail.
Right.
So there's definitely a lot of fundamentals that I've learned from different people and that are essential to being able to pull off a complicated piece.
So let's talk about. So then, all right, you got to learn the techniques. You got to learn the fundamentals. Then you got to obviously that's where the art comes in. Your style, your inspiration, and that's part of why we're talking today, because I think people out there recognize your stuff, and especially our people on Instagram for sure recognize your iconic
the little
syrup jugs. The jugs. What's been like your artistic sort of process? Like, how'd you get started with that series? And then
that series was kind of a freak series in a way. I made one pendant. And I posted it on Champlain Black Market, and it got like 150 or 200 likes. And for a Champlain Black Market post, that's a decent amount for like a handmade product that someone just posts up. So I was like, oh damn, there's some interest in this.
Right.
And then
the internet streets are talking.
I had a collector a friend of mine who is now a collector. I'm not going to name names, but he's supported me since the beginning here. He was like, dude, you need to make more of these. You need to make this a spoon. You need to make it a rig. And I was like, all right, I'll try. And he kept pushing me, being like, dude, make this. So it just got bigger and bigger. And then shops started wanting it, and people started asking for it. And was that
kind of your first like signature?
Yeah,
sort of
it was definitely the first thing that
visual?
I kind of wanted people to know me by was that. And my idea was, let's do something Vermont. Let's do something that really embodies Vermont in a lot of ways. And I grew up on Maple Hill, so it was just perfect. I grew up making maple syrup on Maple Hill. Let's make maple jugs.
All right, cool. See, well, I was going to say, it's funny because you mentioned I've been here since I was 10, which is like, you grew up here, but
I'm
people
not a
in Vermont
Vermonter.
are right, that's the thing. You're enough of a Vermonter that you're sensitive to that. Yeah. Which is ironic, but you're more of a Vermonter than me, and that I didn't grow up on Maple Hill. I've never, I've tapped a tree for pictures and doing tours and shit, but
I grew up so out in the woods. My parents are in a solar powered cabin. We're not even close to power lines. We're so far out there.
All right. This is good. Very heady. See, and we don't pre-screen, man. We just find cool people, and they end up being even cooler than we initially thought. So
I don't know how cool I am. But
well, let's talk about the. Let's talk a little bit more about the art and kind of what we're doing, and maybe we can show people a little kind of example. We don't want to give. We don't want to give it all away.
I'm not trying to give much away, but I can say that I'm not doing the maple syrup stuff. I'm going to kind of put that on the back burner, and I'm really focusing on a new direction that's really giving me a lot to work with. You can go ahead and show people what this is. So this is going to be the first, sneak peek that anyone can get to see of the new series here.
No.
That'll fit.
I'll put it right there and let Sean.
And
let Sean come in on it.
If you want to.
Yeah, sure thing.
Zoom in on that. But so that's a pharaoh head. I'm doing an Egyptian series, so we're going back a couple thousand,
very cool,
5,000 years here.
Yep.
And I'm really trying to just explore a culture that really intrigues me, and I think there's just a lot of room to do a lot of different things.
Man, well, you've got and every time you do something, you've got all the different symbols, you've got all the colors, you've got all the icons, and you've got all the extra stylistic stuff you can add on.
Yep. So so that's a pharaoh head with 23 karat gold on the beard there. So a little bit of bling because it's a pharaoh.
Yeah.
And pharaoh's got to be blingy, right?
I don't want to give them too much. They're gonna have to show up. They're gonna have to show up if they really wanna see it.
Yeah, no, that's
right?
I only brought a pendant. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, that's the very tip of the iceberg, and that's why that's the sneak peek. We're not giving away any more than that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about this event, because this is our first time doing it. We've been talking.
This is my first real event at all, yeah.
And we're like, let's do you got a new line coming out.
Yep.
You've been, paying attention. We've been doing more stuff and hanging out more with glass people. We've got this awesome space in Winooski that we think is going to be perfect for this private event.
Oh, it really is. It's going to be cool.
It's going to be a nice, intimate, it's going to have a real gallery vibe.
But it's also going to have kind of a chill, not party, but yeah, kind of a party vibe. Yeah. We've got some DJs, we've got some live music coming in, we've got some CBD beer, we've got some CBD vendors. It's going to be
we've got a ton, and we should give a shout out to our sponsors, Tamari and Jet.
Let's do shout outs right now. Fire on the Mountain, Killington. Yeah. If you're in the area, stop by there. She's got a lot of great glass, a lot of great CBD. Mm-hmm. She's also going to be, I think, doing some glass blowing lessons in the future over there. So
yeah, that's right. They've got a whole studio.
Yeah, so if you're ever interested in checking it out or getting a lesson, I'm sure they're within a few weeks here. They should be up and running with their glass blowing studio. They just moved.
Nice.
So Fire on the Mountain, Killington.
Fire on the Mountain, Killington. Our dudes at Green Empire.
Green Empire.
Shout out to Evan.
Some great
huge supporters for all of our Heady Vermont events.
Some great CBD beer that'll be available at the event.
Yep, that'll be awesome. And then let's talk about the collab, because it's Green Tea and Friends.
Yeah.
So I know that you've got some other artists that you're going to be putting on that'll be here.
I got some people that I'm working with right now that I've been really close with, because we've been in the same studio for a while, and they've seen this series develop, and I just thought it'd be fun to make a piece with all of them, or a couple pieces with each of them, and include them in the show here. So I just, it's a pretty casual thing. I like working with friends, and I just think it'd be fun to include everyone in this.
And I know that we got Mr. E, who's going to be in the house. Mr. E Glass on Instagram.
Mr. E Glass, he does some awesome ball rigs and some dabby bots and I saw those on Instagram. I love the dabby bots. You should definitely go check out his page. He's got some cool stuff. It's just Mr. and then MR and then the letter E and then Glass on Instagram.
Not the number E. Okay. And then we got. I gotta mess with everybody. We're all hanging out on Monday night watching Facebook together. All right.
Yeah,
have a little fun. We got Mr. E. We got Jekyl.
Yep.
And I think the handle is Jekyl Glass on Instagram.
It is.
As well.
He does a lot of drawing with glass.
Okay.
Drawing with tiny little pieces of glass where he's melting it and doing little pictures with it. They're really detailed, really cool. So he'll draw some cool Egyptian picture. I can't give anything away.
I was gonna say,
He might draw an Egyptian picture. He might do something else. Can't give anything away.
We have, and then we got JZhang Glass too.
We got Jordan Zhang.
JZhang.
I say JZhang because it's easier.
JZhang.
JZhang Glass. It's easier.
I spent 2 years. I spent 2 years studying Mandarin and lived in China, so I'll at least say Zhang. You're right. So you could say JZhang, and actually, that's a great part of the name too.
Yeah,
so
right.
Jordan will be in the mix.
Yeah, Jordan. Yeah,
he's already got a Lego figure on display at the house.
He does. He's a good friend. He drives over with me to New York right now, pretty much every day. So.
And are you still looking for?
I'm looking for a studio space here locally. If you hear of anything that's not, I don't need anything too big, 1,000 square feet or less, even 500 square feet's fine.
Okay.
Just a nice little space that we could do a local studio. Right now, kind of traveling 3.5 hours every day to to blow glass, but
it's wild. I know, and that's why like we have half our meetings are like 9 o'clock at
yeah,
night.
I'm
It's
always
dude,
like,
you've been in the studio all day.
yeah, I got there at 8 or 9 in the morning, and then it's finally get back to Burlington 8 or 9 at night, and then hang out with you guys.
Yeah,
and
it's a hike, man.
It's a gig.
It's a big hike.
It's interesting.
I know. Well, it was cool. We hung out with our dudes from Humble Roots Horticulture.
Yes, yeah,
Fred,
they're
so
awesome.
We'll give those guys a shout out as always too.
Yeah, some great CBD products coming from Humble Roots, some awesome extracts and some cartridges and some topical creams that are great.
And I mean,
Check them
ultimately,
out.
that's what we're here to do, man. Just share the love, spread the promotion around.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, we're all kind of a big family, I
You know?
think. The state's pretty small.
Well, it's going to be cool. I mean, like I said, we have. If you're watching this right now, you're still tuned in. I'll give you the address. I think right now on the Facebook it's listed just as Main Street, but it's 101 Main Street. That's what's on the posters. That is what's on the promo. We're going to drop some
Main
pictures.
Street, yep.
We'll drop some pictures of the building on the outside in the Facebook group, and we'll give people instruction. We'll pop some signs up day of, so you'll be able to figure out where you're going.
Oh yeah.
Plenty of parking in Winooski. We'll hang out from 5 to 8, so it'll be open, like you said. It'll be real casual.
Yeah, just
have
show
some
up
tunes,
and
some live music.
it'll be a good time. I think it'll just be a relaxing atmosphere with some cool glass to go check out. You don't have to buy the glass. Just come take a peek. Come if you've never been introduced to this glass industry, this glass scene. Come down and talk to some people and ask some questions.
Well, and you're going to get a chance to meet a bunch of the artists.
Yeah,
too.
there'll be
So
a bunch
it's
of
like-
artists there. So come down, ask us some questions. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's been a few little events in Vermont that have done pipe related, but I think this is the first one Heady Vermont's been a part of. Right?
It is as far as an official sponsor and promoter and venue host. It totally is. So it's a cool way for us to gateway more into the glass community.
You guys are diversifying your portfolio here a little bit into the culture.
Well, and like you said, there's such a great glass community, and everybody that we've met through it has been so cool. And not even just the Vermont people too. Like when I was at Pipe Classic, and getting to meet a lot of people, getting to meet a lot of artists. Actually, I got to shout out Hickory because I had a chance to hang out and talk with him quite a bit at the One show. Speaking of Vermont artists who are kicking ass right now, man,
yeah, he's actually doing a show.
Amazing work. Yeah,
he's doing a show down in Connecticut, but he does the tree work.
Yep.
He did, birch trees and just gnarly.
I love the birch series especially.
I've
that
been
one gets
such a fan of Hickory's work since I first laid eyes on it, man.
Yeah.
He's such quintessential Vermont,
Well, and it's cool. You come to these events and you meet the actual artists, and you're like, man, these are even cooler people. I like your art, and you're even
you're an awesome
more rad in person.
Too.
All right, awesome. Well, sorry, a little dry. Tyler, anything else? Anything else that we want to promo for green tea? I mean, like I said, we're all gonna be hanging out on Sunday in Winooski, 5 o'clock. Doors will be open.
Yeah, come down. There'll be some appetizers. There'll be some beer on tap there. I think there'll be a CBD dab bar as well.
Oh yeah.
So you'll be able to smoke some different CBD products and just chill out and have a good time. There'll be good vibey music there, and
it will, as the kids say, be a vibe.
Yeah.
It's going to be a vibe for sure. So
yeah.
All right, sweet. Well, green tea. Thanks for coming on.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Shout out to you. Yeah, this was awesome, man. Well,
looks great. You guys did a cool job here.
I know. Well, don't tell everybody else what the rest of this place.
Oh, this place looks great.
You've been able to see it behind the scenes.
Looks like $1 million. I love it.
I know. Our thanks to Jam Creative for hosting us here.
Yes, thank you, Jam Creative.
April 21st, gonna have a banger for Jam Creative. So it'll be a VIP thing. If you're watching this, you're probably a Heady Vermont member, affiliated, checking us out. So stay tuned because we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up. Events, and especially this Sunday. So we will see you then.
Yes.
Information is on the Facebook page. You can check out Green Tea
follow
Glass.
the Instagram there. It's the word green and the letter T and then glass. Mm-hmm. I'll be posting up the poster. We'll be doing some live streaming of the event while we're there.
Yep.
And
we are. We're going to interview some people. We're gonna check in,
and there will be glass available to buy. I'm dropping this series not to just show people. There will be glass. This is an event where people can go and get a little piece of this new Egyptian series.
Right. And I think that's what's cool. We've looked at it, and it's everything from I've seen the rigs, and they're unreal. They're amazing.
Man.
I've seen all the pieces, but you have everything from pendants all the way up to full rigs.
Yeah.
So even if you don't consider yourself a collector, you're still going to be able to find something that's going to be in your price range.
Or hopefully,
be
you think
able
at
to
least
support,
it's cool, right?
You know? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if not, man, it's free to show up and take Instagram pictures.
Yeah,
so.
show up and eat some of our food and then leave. Like,
Yeah.
I normally do at every other event.
Beautiful. Shows up, eats, and leaves. All right,
Yeah.
well, thank you guys for tuning in once
Yes,
again.
thank you.
Shout out to Green Tea. We will see you guys all out
Thank you,
there
Eli
on,
from
on
Heady
Sunday.
Vermont.
Oh, it is my. I'm not going to bend over because I missed the spot shaving my head earlier today. So we'll see. We'll see how much that shows up. But as always, been great to see you guys in the live stream. We will be back next week, next Monday, with another Heady live stream. In the meantime, share this video, share Tyler's work, share everything that we're doing. Shout out to sponsors. And we'll be back with more soon.
Cheers to a greener future here.
To a greener future. All
I
right.
think we've got a lot of green in our
Everybody
future.
wearing their green. I know. I wore my green jackets.
This has got like a tint of green to it.
You know.
Yeah, you're more green.
I know.
than
And
me
a shout out to
right now.
Vermont Homegrown too.
I
Obviously.
got
but-
this in front of me, so I'm pretty green.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't resist adding that at the end. All right.
Well, thank you guys.
Everybody else.
Cheers.
Have a good night. Cheers.